little low. It's all good. It's all good. Just checking up on y'all, see how y'all doing up here. Appreciate y'all supporting this channel. Just taking a little walk out here. Beautiful day, beautiful day. Around the 70s out here near the water. Taking a little walk around my neighborhood. So, you know, life has been good. It had challenges, but it's good challenges as far as being in the school system. Started doing certain roles in the school. I'll say, it can be challenging sometimes dealing with, kids from different backgrounds, trying to deal with attitudes and how to deal with the attitudes. So it's a learning process, you know. It's a learning process, but grateful for having a job. A lot of people, they're trying to find jobs out here. It's kind of rough out here, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I do. Get to be off on the weekends. Off on holidays now, versus my jobs in the past. Wasn't able to really be off on holidays and things like that. So I'm very grateful for my new position. About 4 weeks in, my job. It has been pretty interesting so far. Enjoying my co-workers. They're very helpful in this process, in this transition. Used to being on a production type of job. Now I'm on a more professional job. It's very different for me. But I'm grateful for the experience. Grateful for the experience. On the job I'm on now. But again, appreciate y'all for always supporting this channel. Appreciate y'all. How you doing, Rolly GT? Appreciate you for being in here. But be grateful for opportunities that you have. A lot of people, they don't get certain opportunities in life, and so be grateful for, the favor on you to uphold and have these type of positions in life. Some people are not able to get these opportunities, and grateful that you have the mindset to go for it. In life, you have to think about. Most times in life, you have to think ahead. In life, especially being an adult, you have to think ahead in a lot of situations, because you just know what you don't never know what's. And I know I'm using double negatives. You never know what's coming your way. You never know what's coming your way. So you always gotta think ahead, especially if you have a family. You have a wife, you have kids. You have to think ahead, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Things unexpectedly happen to me this year. Losing close people that I loved, close friend. You just never know the things that will happen in your life. And so in your mindset, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for anything, or you'll literally lose your mind trying to think about what could have been, what should have been. And so, just always be prepared in your mind about things in life, and don't take things for granted. Don't take time period for granted, because time, like they say, life is like a vapor. You just never know when that time evaporates, So again, appreciate y'all for being in here. If you got anything you want to talk about as I walk, any questions, whether it's current events, how you doing, Mateo? Current events, anything you want to talk about as far as religion or motivation, feel free to ask the question. I love to conversate with you guys, just motivational, being grateful for opportunities, learning, learning from your mistakes. A lot of people, they think, and I was watching the Dame Dash interview, people are so, my day is good, Mateo. You said I'm new. Welcome, Carlos. But watching the Dame Dash interview, people can get so prideful in their success that they're not able to listen to advice or listen to what they really are behind all of the lights and fame and money. How you doing, Clint Torres? They're not able to accept that I did wrong. I don't have this like I used to have it, and they're so prideful in the things they already attained in life, and so we have to be more humble. I think the main thing that causes people to be so destructive is humility. I think a lot of people have to learn humility in life in order to be less destructive to other people, And so, I think that's the thing. And I think the other thing is selfishness. A lot of people, especially men, we can be sort of selfish with decisions, me, myself, and I type of thing. But we have to learn how to be more catering to other people's needs and really be respectful of other people's needs before ours in a lot of ways, especially if you're a husband or you're in a relationship, or especially if you have children, Yeah, you're right, new generation is lost now. Yeah, and I think, and I might be wrong, but I know I'm right. Technology has a lot to do with how the new generation operates now. This new generation is being raised by YouTube. They're being raised by video games, being raised by music these days. And so I think it has to be more of a parental security, a parental advisory on a lot of, things these days. Me being in the school system now, it's totally different from when I was in school. The way these kids use profanity, the language, they knowing about all these sexual things at a young age is very, very dangerous and very destructive to, the future generation, So, we just got to teach our kids how to protect themselves, but teach them to, how to be children. Yeah, no respect for authority. Yeah, I've witnessed that a lot being in school for only 4 weeks. No respect for adults. They think they've lived here or been here longer than the adults. No respect for authority because they're not taught. They're not taught at home those things, Clint. Yeah, they're not taught those things at home. And, kids are like a sponge. Whatever their parent does, they do, I witnessed that, I witnessed that in my own family. A lot of young kids, they emulate or imitate what their parents have done. You know, gestures or phrases that's not appropriate for younger kids. And so we just gotta, as parents and as adults in general, just gotta teach the right thing to our kids so they won't grow up in the wrong direction. So appreciate you, Clint. Yeah, appreciate you. But it's a lot of things as far as you know the way people are being taught and stuff like that. But yeah, you right, Clint, about that. But yeah, it's good talking to you all about these things because me being in the school system now, I see a lot of things that I shouldn't see from children at a young age, especially in middle school and elementary school. The sexuality and all that stuff is just really out of control. The respect the respect is out of control. A lot of things that I see, it's just out of control with these young kids. But it all stems from great parenting. It all stems from great parenting and how we, like I said, it really takes a village to raise kids, especially these days, because a lot of parents are still children themselves mentally. They still think like adults. They still think like children. And so how can you expect a child that's raised by a childlike parent, to, really do that? I've seen too much. That's why I just retired, caught myself. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, and being a cop is a tough job, But yeah, like I said, being in the school system, I see so many things, And like I said, technology is really raising these kids these days. I was just talking to my wife about, these ads on YouTube. A kid can be watching SpongeBob or watching Ladybug, those cartoons, and then a ad come on, talking about, some type of sexual thing or explicit language, and parents got to really watch what their kids is watching on TV. Just a lot of things. With these kids, this new generation, like I said, they're being raised by, how you doing, Chatty Patty 2.0? They're being raised by, they're being raised by technology, and now the rise of AI, these kids, they they believe anything, they believe anything. And like I said, kids act so grown these days. They really don't have no respect for older people, for adults, especially in this society, have no respect for adults. And that's the sad part, that's the sad part, because when they get in the professional world, they can't get a job because they're so disrespectful from when they're, young age, they're so disrespectful. But yeah, we just got to be watchful for these things. If you got any questions about, religion, motivation, current events, and like I mentioned earlier, I saw the Dame Dash, big tech shaping it, forming our kids for use and profit. Yeah, especially when I talk about music. These record label heads, executives, they don't care, that the children are becoming destructive because of their music. You know, I'm in the school system. They have these Chromebooks, and they listen to all types of music on their Chromebook, and you like, it's no escape from how these children are being influenced these days. It's no escape. You know, but yeah, you're right, Clint. Big tech is shaping and forming children for their use and profit. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And we just got to be more watchful of what our kids are consuming. Or that children are like a sponge. They're very smart, very inquisitive in what they're viewing. Like I said, I've seen children in my own family. They imitate what their parents do, and it comes out because they're not taught the right way, or they don't see the right things in front of them. And that's the thing. You have to really watch out. Have to really watch out for those things. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Just took a walk today. Beautiful, beautiful, near the pond over here in my neighborhood. Just love my neighborhood. Can sit here near the water. So yeah, just grateful for life. A lot of unexpected things happened this year in my life. Losing close people, losing friends, losing just people I really knew unexpectedly. You just got to be grateful. You got to be grateful. Yeah, I'm in VA. But yeah, just be grateful for life. Grateful for another day. Don't take, time is, they say time is money, but time is precious. Time is very precious. And you got to just take life. You don't have to take life serious all the time, but take life, each minute, take advantage of it, take advantage of it. But never been in there. What state is that in? Front Royal or Winchester? That's Virginia. Okay, Virginia. And also, if you want to support this channel, my Cash App is on this channel page. If you want to support this channel, $ Open Mind Convo. If you want to support, not yet monetized, still waiting to be monetized on this channel. But if you want to support this channel, feel free to. But again, appreciate y'all for being up here. Hope you're having a great Saturday evening. Just enjoying this amazing weather out here in front of the water. So, fall is here next week. I believe fall starts next week. So, I'm kind of ready for the fall. I like fall weather. So, hope you have a great evening. All right, peace.